Hi everyone, my name is Rhys Davies, evidential psychic medium, spirit artist and author. Welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to highlight what are the 12 most common signs from spirit where they're showing us that they're not gone and have survived so-called death and are with us in our everyday life. I really hope you love this video. The first most common sign from spirit are feathers. Feathers that turned up in random, unexpected places can be a great sign from the angelic and even spiritual world that they're supporting you and trying to guide you at that moment in time. I always say to people, what are you thinking about? Where are you when it happened? What's going on in your mind? And who do you want these feathers to be from? I get a lot of clients that say, I see feathers all the time, white ones. It must be from my grandma. Is this true? Well, I say, well, have you told them that that's what you want? And so be very clear. Tell the spirit person who you want it to be from, how many feathers you want when they do show up, what type and what color, and at some point the spirit world will give you a sign that they're with you and helping you through a challenging time. So give them time, make sure it's possible, and at some point through feathers they'll definitely give you a sign that they're with you moving forward. The second most common sign from spirit are synchronicities. These are coincidental moments that appear to be far more than just random occurrences, too perfect to be true, right? So in that moment, I believe there's no real coincidences at all, just perfect opportunity. So when something's happening to you, like, I don't expect this to be happening to me right now, I must be pinching myself, or I don't deserve this, or why is this all coming together really easy for me when it's harder for others? Please say yes and enjoy the ride. It's when you're truly connected to your higher self and the spirit world is definitely telling you, yes, this is your moment and you deserve it, and it's divinely. So please trust in that moment. Yeah, you do deserve to have sometimes moments in your life that you feel all of a sudden falling into your lap and going your way. So say yes. There's only opportunity. There are no coincidences. The third most common sign from spirit are dreams. This is where spirit can manifest vivid dreams to you to try and help you, to guide you, even to give you a warning. It's very important when you wake up from your dreams that you think slowly, recall your dreams. Does this feel like it's the ring of truth? Is this a warning to you? I always say to my clients, have a book by your side. Try and lie in a little bit longer. Close your eyes, slow your breath down. Then try and recall your dreams. And if you see a pattern recurring on paper from your thoughts that are happening in your dreams, then analyze it and look at it as if, well, what's the truth in this? Is this a warning, or are they trying to tell me something? Vivid dreams are definitely part of the spirit world, trying to show you signs of guidance, love and support, and to help you through challenging times. The fourth most common sign from spirit are recurring numbers. This can be 111, 222, 333, 444, 777, and these can hold great spiritual significance to people. They can also turn up in sequence of numbers on number plates for people too. I always say to my clients, have you assigned a number or a sequence of numbers to a loved one? I would say to my clients often, 1111, for example, 1111 would be a great number to allocate to someone who might have been in the war. The 11th day of the 11th month of the 11th hour, for example. And so if they see that, knowing that it might be a granddad or even a great-granddad, for example, who might have been in the wartime, and they often see that occurring in their everyday life, then maybe that person is supporting them and watching over them. You have to be very clear and very specific and allocate it to the right person. You can be so specific, like, I want to see 333 on a purple Lamborghini. That is physically possible. It can be manifested. It can't be too impossible for them. But if it is something that can happen in natural everyday life on the physical plane, at some point the spirit world can give you pattern numbers to show you that they're with you and watching over you. Now, they also hold a lot of angelic and spiritual significance, and there's lots of information on the internet about the sequence of numbers and their meaning. There's literally thousands of interpretations. I would just say to you all watching this that if you are getting a sequence of numbers, first of all, make sure it's not from a loved one. And if not, and you're not sure, then please assign a series of numbers to a loved one. And when you get that in the future, you know it's them. But if you're just looking for the angelic or spiritual significance of what that number might be, you keep seeing it all the time, and you want to know what the importance of that number and not from someone who's died in the spirit world, then go on Google and research these sequence of numbers and what they might mean. I guess you've got free will there. Please take what works and bin what doesn't feel right to you with things that you read and absorb on the internet about the sequence of numbers and their true purpose and meaning and why they occur, yeah? It's very open to interpretation and everyone's got lots of ideas, but the main thing is, does it feel true to you? The fifth and most common sign from spirit are birds and animal encounters. This is where birds or unique types of animals or different types of animals, all of a sudden turn up unexpectedly in really unusual moments, not typical everyday life moments. It can be a gathering of birds all the same color, particularly in America, like red cardinals. Seeing 3 or 4 males together wouldn't be typical, and something like that might be a sign from a loved one. You have to be very clear what you want that to be, and if you do want an animal or assign an animal to a loved one, and be very clear who it's for and how many. Be specific. I had another lady that had a deer that would come and visit the gravesite of her father, and every time she sees a deer, she often thinks of her father in that way. So birds and animal encounters can be very, very special to people. The 6th most common sign from spirit are electrical encounters, lights flickering, going off and on, electrical disturbances, things turning on and off, those kinds of things. I love this aspect from spirit because they're a great sign to let you know they are there. But I feel too, a lot of people sometimes feel scared or nervous around this type of sign from spirit too, right? So the main thing here is the spirit world need a lot of time and energy to make electrical currents and things shift and change on the physical plane, right? It can take multiple attempts before it can actually manifest. For example, if you had a light that flickered, you could say, "Is that you, Dad?" in the spirit world. "Is that you, Dad?" 1 for yes, 2 for no, right? And then that might be it. It might flicker once and you go, "Well, it's Dad." And you might ask another question and it doesn't do anything and get despondent about it, right? But a week or 2 later, even a month or even longer, it starts again. And then they might give you a little bit more. And so this is where you have to be very patient and very supportive to the fact that this is a very hard thing for spirit to actually manifest as well, yeah? And it takes time. The main thing when this is all going on is, who do you feel the energy of around you at the time? Do you get an impression of a loved one that makes the feeling of them being around you? Like, do you sense a presence around you in your aura? Do you even get an impression in your third eye, or get a sense of them, or a feeling? Or do you get other sensations, like even a smell from them when this is going on? And then start the communication. Yes, it's very important to be open-minded to that and know that it can take time. But, electrical interferences are a wonderful sign from spirit to let you know they're not gone. So sometimes when these things are going on, what's also the message between the lines? If all of a sudden the TV goes on, what's the story about? If all of a sudden a song turns on when it shouldn't from the radio, what's the song about? What's the message between the lines? Because that's also their way of trying to get to you, yeah? The 7th most common sign from spirit are intuitive nudges. This is when you feel like you're getting pulled from one idea or thought into the next thing. Or when you're with a person, all of a sudden you change your mind out of nowhere and want to go somewhere different. Or you feel like it's not safe to go somewhere or do something either. It's like all of a sudden there's been some kind of intervention, like a nudge in some way that's putting you on a different path or changing the way you're thinking, yeah? Please take note of this. Do you ever get a gut feeling not to go somewhere, or you don't trust someone, or you feel like this is an absolute yes for me? If I didn't feel like I did this right now, I'd feel like I would miss out on something. Then please do it. It's highly likely you're getting a nudge from the spirit world and they're wanting to help you and guide you in your life in that moment in time. The 8th most common sign from spirit are rainbows. And who doesn't love a rainbow, right? Rainbows are so cool. Rainbows also, can be seen as a divinative kind of sense of hope, and that, there's hope on the horizon. And for many of us, it kind of feels like even fortune coming, because there's often a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, yeah? I always thought there was when I was growing up, and I used to even try and chase the rainbow to get to the end, because I was told that there was gold there. I've been chasing all my life and still haven't got it yet. But, you know, you can also assign rainbows to the spirit world, right? So, for example, you could say, I want 2 rainbows together. And when I get that, I know it's from you, Granddad. Yeah? And that's possible. You know, it's something that can happen in nature. And when it does, they would definitely be trying to show you that wherever you are in the world, whether you're in the car or whatever at work, and you see a double rainbow, no matter what's going on in your mind or things happening in your personal life, that they are there right now, letting you know they're supporting you. And that can give great sense and hope for people, can't it, moving forward. So rainbows can be a great sign to people, and then very much an angelic and even spiritual upliftment and enlightenment kind of symbology of moving forward, that things are going to be okay. Yeah. The 9th most common sign from spirit are coins and dimes, depending on which part of the hemisphere you're from in the world. It could be, you know, pennies, depending if you're from the UK, for example, or it could be a particular type of coin, or a coin that has a certain date on it or a certain time period, you know. And when you see that and find one, you know that the people in the spirit world are watching over you or giving you a sign to let you know they're with you and helping you at this moment in time. The 10th most common sign from spirit are unexplained scents. Fragrances, colognes and perfumes that can remind you from a departed loved one can often be a sign from the spirit world. I've had some people, for example, that say in a reading, you know, the grandma comes through to show me that she wore Elizabeth Arden, and you really recently smelt this going through a shop. Does this make sense? And they say, yes, that's absolutely true. It was her favourite perfume, and I did smell that. And when I smell that, I always think of her. In fact, I even have a bottle of that at home to remind me of her. Or it was hers that she left behind and gave it to me before she died. Or after she died, I went and collected it to remind me of her. You know, so scents and smells can be very, very special to people. It can be even body scent. Sometimes, obviously, people leave clothes behind once they've passed, and a lot of people cherish these clothing items, and they can have a smell to it, can't they? So sometimes even a smell can mean something to a person that might remind them. I've got a grandma that loved potpourri, you know, in her time, and when I smell that or see that, I often feel like that's a sign from them. I also have a granddad that used to love to smoke cigars, you know, and cigarettes. And there's been times when even it was physically impossible that the smoke could come from anywhere but from a spirit, because it was in a unique space, an environment where there was nothing smoking or anything burning that would resemble anything of that. Men's colognes, you know, like Old Spice and Brute 33 and all these types of cool stuff. But it can even be the scent and smell of foods, right? I had a family member that loved licorice all sorts, so when I get the smell of that, I feel like that connects to them. Musk lollies, you know, and mint lollies and things like that make people feel connected and that there's a loved one in the spirit world, you know, that's nearby and watching over them, yeah? The 11th most common sign from spirit are butterflies and dragonflies. And these often represent, you know, transformation or rebirth, and can be very much, I guess, spiritually significant to many people when they see them. Often people are going through a difficult time or changing relationships or whatever. Seeing a butterfly or a dragonfly can mean, well, I'm going through a transition and a change, and there's great things still to come for me. There's new beginnings. So it can be very much a divinative influence, but you can also associate this with family members who've passed in the spirit world. I have a grandfather, for example, who brings me 2 butterflies that are black and blue, and when I see them, I know it's him. Grandma that brings 3 yellow, lime, green butterflies with little brown spots on the lower wings. It's that specific, and I know when I see them that I've got these beautiful people in the spirit world who mean so much to me still around me and watching over me. You know, it's really good to kind of assign more than one though, so you rule out the chance of natural occurrence, you know, 2 or 3 collectively. And when these things happen, and also weird circumstances or not typical circumstances, then you can really rule out the law of nature, and that there is some intervention that the spirit world is trying to, you know, show you a sign that they're with you and helping you moving forward. Yeah. The 12th most common sign from spirit are songs, and I really love music a lot. It's a big part of my life. Songs and music can be so relative to an emotional time in a person's life that may have been shared together, like weddings and funeral songs and all sorts of things like that, right? And when the reoccurrence of these happen, the person can instantly feel like this might be a connection from a loved one in the spirit world. For example, if their favourite song was Unforgettable by 𝐤𝐤𝐤 and they played it at their funeral, and even moving forward, you heard it twice in the same day on the radio, on the day that they died or the next day after their funeral or whatever, you'd be thinking, wow, that's my loved one coming through to let me know they're not gone. So this can be very powerful and very much connecting. I think music's like a universal language for all of us, really. Regardless of creed and culture, music brings everyone together, right? So I also feel it's very divinely appropriate for the spirit world too, and to people that they've been left behind. It can be a specific type of music. It could be a ringtone. You know, it might have been a ringtone they had on their phone, for example, and every time you hear that certain ringtone, you might feel like, well, that's my brother, you know, that may have passed. So these types of moments through music and song are very, very special. I always say to my clients, assign them a song if you haven't. What song do you want that to be? Oh, well, they used to love My Way by Frank Sinatra. I actually played it at their funeral. Okay, well, in the future, if you hear My Way by Frank Sinatra twice in one day on the radio, then it's definitely going to be your dad, isn't it, in the spirit world? I think it's important. What song do you want it to be? Make sure you're clear about that. Assign the song to a particular person, and when you do hear it, ask for it to be heard more than once even, just to rule out chance, opportunity, and that will really mean that you're getting a sign from spirit. Music can evolve into, you know, a few chords, sound of a guitar, a song you went out together and partied to. You know, it's very wide and broad with music, but be very clear and be very specific. What song, who for, and how many times you need to hear it in that time, whether it's once a day or twice a day or whatever. And at some point, I have no doubt the spirit world will give you a sign through songs or music. When I hear of Vera Lynn, We'll Meet Again, I definitely think of a grandma. When I hear Love Me Tender by Elvis, I definitely feel an association with my mum. And so these are the types of things that stay with us, and they mean a lot to people moving forward, and people will feel like it's definitely a loved one coming back through to them in some way to help and guide them. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. To see more like it, examples of my readings, my demonstrations, my spirit drawings, and spiritual education, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, link below in the comments. But you can also friend me on social media. I'd really love that via Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again soon.